Golden dawnlight dripped off every leaf as 10-year-old Elena Rodriguez skipped toward her family's forgotten greenhouse. She expected rows of strong seedlings for Papa's farm, but the moment she heaved the creaky door, her smile vanished. Inside waited dozens of wilted, drooping plants in cracked pots discarded by other growers and left for dead. Elena's heart broke seeing so many sad plants nobody wanted. She ran to find Papa Miguel in the vegetable garden, where healthy tomatoes grew tall and strong. "Papa, why are sick plants in our greenhouse?" she asked. Papa knelt down, his gentle eyes twinkling, and explained his secret mission of giving second chances. Papa explained that other farms threw away plants they thought were too weak, too spotted, or too different, but he believed every living thing deserved love and care. "These plants just need someone to believe in them," he said softly. Elena's eyes sparkled with determination. She would help every single rejected plant grow strong again. Elena grabbed her sunflower watering can and marched toward the greenhouse with new purpose. Spark, her rescued hummingbird friend, suddenly appeared in a flash of emerald and ruby feathers. The tiny bird seemed to sense Elena's mission, chirping excitedly and hovering around her head like a colorful, living crown of encouragement and magic. Inside the greenhouse, Elena knelt beside the saddest plant she'd ever seen, a sunflower named Willow, with drooping petals and a bent stem. "Don't worry, Willow," Elena whispered gently, touching the wilted leaves. "I'll help you stand tall again." Spark perched on the pot's rim, adding her tiny chirps of encouragement to Elena's promise. Next, Elena discovered Patches, a tomato plant covered in brown spots that made him look sick and ugly. Other farmers thought he had a disease, but Elena saw something different, unique markings that made him special. She gently watered his dry soil, whispering that being different makes someone beautiful, not broken. Elena found Stumpy, the tiniest rosebush anyone had ever seen, growing wide instead of tall like roses should. His buds were perfect miniatures, but so small that other gardens ignored him. Elena smiled, understanding that good things come in all sizes. She promised Stumpy that small could be mighty and beautiful too. The strangest plant Elena found was Twist, a vine whose stems grew in spirals and loops, instead of climbing straight up like vines should. His curly growth made him look confused and tangled. But Elena gasped with delight. Twist wasn't broken, he was creating natural art. She told him his differences made him absolutely magnificent and unique. For 7 days, Elena visited her plant friends every morning before school and every evening before bed. She watered them carefully, sang gentle songs, and told them stories about growing strong. Spark helped by hovering over the sickest plants, as if her tiny presence could add extra magic to Elena's loving care. But despite all Elena's love and hard work, many plants seemed to get worse instead of better. Willow's head drooped lower, Patches developed more spots, and even tiny Stumpy's buds began falling off. Elena's heart filled with doubt and sadness. Maybe she wasn't good enough to help them. Maybe some things really were too broken to fix. Elena ran to Papa Miguel, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I'm not helping them. They're getting worse," she sobbed. Papa held her close, his strong arms wrapping around her small shoulders. "My dear Elena," he whispered gently, "the deepest healing happens where we cannot see. Sometimes plants grow stronger roots before they grow beautiful leaves." Papa knelt down and drew a picture in the garden soil, a plant with tiny visible leaves but enormous roots growing deep underground. "You cannot see a plant's roots, but they are its real strength," he explained. "Your rejected plants are growing invisible roots of love and hope. Trust the process, my brave gardener." Elena returned to the greenhouse with renewed hope, but she gasped when she saw her plants. They looked even worse. Willow had completely fallen over, Patches was covered in more brown spots than ever, and Stumpy had lost all his tiny buds. For a moment, Elena wanted to run away and never come back to this place of failure. But then Elena remembered Papa's words about invisible roots growing strong underground. She took a deep breath and knelt beside Willow's fallen form. Very gently, she began digging around the base of the sunflower with her fingers, being careful not to hurt any hidden roots that might be growing below the surface. Elena's heart leaped with joy. Just as Papa had promised, strong white roots had grown deep into the soil, more roots than she had ever seen on any plant. Willow wasn't dying at all, she was growing the strongest foundation possible underground. Elena laughed with pure delight, finally understanding Papa's wise words about invisible strength. Elena carefully covered Willow's roots and checked the other plants too. Patches had grown an incredible network of roots despite his spotted leaves, and even tiny Stumpy had developed roots twice his size. Elena realized the plants had been using all their energy to grow strong underground before showing their beauty above ground. Papa was absolutely right. The very next morning, Elena discovered the first miracle. Willow had lifted her beautiful yellow head just a little bit higher. Her petals looked brighter, and her stem seemed stronger. Elena danced with joy, and sparks circled overhead, chirping excitedly. The deep roots were finally sending strength to help Willow stand tall again. Over the following week, amazing changes happened every single day. Patch's brown spots began turning into interesting patterns that looked like natural art on his leaves. Stumpy started growing new buds that were even more perfect than before, and Twist's spiral stems began producing the most beautiful curly leaves anyone had ever seen. Elena ran to Papa Miguel, bursting with excitement to share the miraculous changes. "Papa, Papa, you were right about the invisible roots," she shouted, pulling him toward the greenhouse. Papa smiled knowingly, his eyes twinkling with pride as he followed his daughter. He had always believed in the magic of second chances, but seeing Elena's joy made his heart overflow with happiness. Inside the greenhouse, Papa Miguel gasped with genuine amazement at the transformation. Willow stood proud and tall, her golden petals glowing like sunshine. Patches displayed his unique spotted patterns like living artwork. Stumpy bloomed with dozens of perfect miniature roses, and Twist created a natural sculpture of spiraling green beauty throughout the greenhouse. "Elena, you have learned the most important lesson a gardener can know," Papa said softly. "Every living thing has hidden potential waiting to grow. You saw past their broken appearance and believed in their invisible strength. That is the true gift of giving second chances, seeing what others cannot see yet." That afternoon, Elena heard crying from outside the greenhouse. She found Marcus, a new boy from her school, sitting alone under the apple tree with tears on his cheeks. He looked as sad and forgotten as her rejected plants had looked. Elena's heart filled with the same caring feeling she had felt for Willow, Patches, Stumpy, and Twist. Elena approached Marcus gently, just like she had approached her struggling plants. "Hi, I'm Elena," she said softly. "Are you okay?" Marcus looked up with red, puffy eyes and shook his head. "Everyone at school thinks I'm weird because I talk to butterflies and collect pretty rocks. They say I'm too different to have friends." Elena's eyes lit up with understanding and excitement. "Talking to butterflies sounds magical, and collecting pretty rocks is like treasure hunting," she exclaimed. "I talk to plants and have a hummingbird friend named Spark. Being different isn't weird, it's wonderful. Would you like to meet my rejected plants who became the most beautiful flowers in the whole world?" Marcus wiped his tears and followed Elena to the greenhouse, amazement growing with each step. When he saw the incredible transformation of the rejected plants, his mouth dropped open in wonder. "They're absolutely beautiful," he whispered. "You really helped plants that nobody wanted become the most amazing garden I've ever seen." His eyes sparkled with new hope. As Marcus admired the plants, Spark suddenly appeared in a flash of emerald and ruby, hovering curiously around the new visitor. Instead of being startled, Marcus laughed with pure delight. "A hummingbird with a bandana. She's incredible." Elena smiled, knowing that someone who appreciated Spark's magic would understand the beauty of being wonderfully different and special. From that day forward, Marcus visited the greenhouse every day after school. He helped Elena care for the plants with gentle hands and a patient heart. Together, they discovered that Twist's spiral patterns helped support climbing insects, that Patch's spots actually helped him resist certain diseases, and that Stumpy's low growth made him perfect for small gardens and window boxes. Word spread through the town about Elena's magical greenhouse where rejected plants became extraordinary. Soon, other children started bringing plants. Their families wanted to throw away a cactus that grew sideways, a fern that preferred darkness, a vine that only bloomed at night. Elena and Marcus welcomed every plant with the same love and patience they had learned together. The greenhouse became a magical place where children learned that being different was actually being special. A shy girl named Lily found confidence helping the night-blooming vine. A boy named Sam who felt too small learned strength from tiny Stumpy. Each child discovered that the plants they helped actually helped them find their own hidden beauty. One evening, as golden sunset light filled the greenhouse, Elena sat surrounded by her thriving garden and new friends. Willow's bright petals glowed like sunshine. Patches displayed his artistic patterns proudly. Stumpy bloomed with dozens of perfect miniature roses, and Twist created living sculptures throughout the space. Elena's heart overflowed with pure happiness and accomplishment. Papa Miguel appeared in the doorway, his face glowing with immense pride as he watched his daughter surrounded by her rescued plants and new friends. "Elena, he said softly, "you have created something more beautiful than any ordinary garden. You have grown a garden of second chances, hope, and friendship that will bloom forever in everyone's hearts." As winter approached, Elena realized she had learned the most important lesson of her young life. Every living thing, whether plant, person, or creature, had special gifts waiting to be discovered. Some needed patience, some needed gentle care, and all needed someone to believe in their hidden potential. The greenhouse had taught her to see with her heart, not just her eyes. On the first day of spring, Elena organized a second chance garden festival to celebrate all the rejected plants that had found new life and beauty. The entire town came to see the miraculous transformations. People gasped in amazement at the unique beauty of each plant, and many asked Elena to help their own hopeless plants find new life. Mrs. Henderson, the town's master gardener, approached Elena with tears in her eyes. "My dear child, you have taught me something I forgot after 50 years of gardening. I've been throwing away plants I thought were worthless, but you've shown me that every plant deserves a chance to reveal its unique beauty and purpose." That summer, Elena started the Rejected Plant Rescue Network with Marcus and their new friends. Children from neighboring towns brought their families' discarded plants to Elena's greenhouse. Each plant found a special place and purpose, and each child learned that giving second chances creates magic that spreads far beyond any single garden. One autumn day, a special visitor arrived at the greenhouse, Dr. Sarah Chen, a famous botanist who had heard about Elena's miraculous plant rescues. She examined each plant with scientific wonder, taking notes and photographs. "Elena," she said amazed, "you've discovered something remarkable about plant resilience and the power of believing in hidden potential." Dr. Chen invited Elena to speak at the International Garden Conference, where famous gardeners from around the world would learn about the second chance method. Elena felt nervous but excited. Papa Miguel helped her prepare a presentation showing before and after pictures of all her rescued plants, along with the simple philosophy that love and patience work miracles. At the conference, Elena stood before hundreds of adult gardeners, her heart pounding but her voice clear and strong. She showed pictures of Willow, Patches, Stumpy, and Twist, explaining how she learned to see potential instead of problems. The audience listened in amazed silence, realizing this child had discovered something they had forgotten. When Elena finished speaking, the entire conference erupted in thunderous applause. Famous gardeners stood up, tears in their eyes, realizing they had been blind to the potential in their own failed plants. Dr. Chen announced that Elena's method would be taught in gardening schools worldwide, spreading the philosophy of second chances globally. Back home in Willowbrook, Elena's greenhouse became a pilgrimage site for gardeners seeking to learn the second chance method. But Elena remained the same gentle, caring girl who simply believed every living thing deserved love. She continued spending her mornings with Willow, Patches, Stumpy, and Twist, remembering they were her first and most important teachers. Years passed, and Elena grew into a wise young woman who established the global Second Chance Garden Network. Thousands of children worldwide learned her methods, rescuing millions of rejected plants and discovering their own hidden talents. But Elena's greatest joy remained her original greenhouse, where the miracle of believing in others began. Marcus became Elena's research partner, using his scientific observation skills to document plant recovery patterns. Together they wrote the definitive guide to second chance gardening, proving that rejected plants often develop superior resilience and unique beauty. Their friendship, built on accepting each other's differences, became the foundation of their groundbreaking work. Papa Miguel, now with silver hair and deeper smile lines, watched his daughter's global impact with quiet pride. He often sat in the original greenhouse, surrounded by the thriving descendants of Willow, Patches, Stumpy, and Twist. "I always knew," he would whisper to the plants, "that teaching Elena to see with her heart would change the world." Spark, though older and less energetic, still visited the greenhouse daily, now accompanied by her children and grandchildren, generations of hummingbirds, who learned to sense struggling plants just like their ancestor. The greenhouse filled with tiny rainbow flashes as the hummingbird family continued Elena's mission of bringing hope and healing to forgotten growing things. Children from around the world made pilgrimages to Elena's original greenhouse, now called the Sanctuary of Second Chances. Each child learned the same lesson Elena discovered years ago, that every rejected, forgotten, or struggling being has hidden potential, waiting for someone to believe in their invisible strength and unique beauty. The town of Willowbrook transformed into a model community where differences were celebrated rather than rejected. Unusual businesses thrived, unique artists found support, and children with special needs discovered their hidden talents. Elena's lesson about plants had grown into a philosophy that changed how people saw each other and themselves. On Elena's 18th birthday, the original greenhouse was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its contribution to global understanding of resilience and hope. Elena stood beside Willow, now a magnificent sunflower with descendants growing worldwide, and remembered the scared little girl who almost gave up when her plants seemed to get worse before getting better. That evening, Elena walked alone through her greenhouse sanctuary, touching each plant gently and remembering their individual stories of transformation. She paused at a new section where recently rescued plants waited for their chance to reveal hidden beauty. "Every ending is really a beginning," she whispered, continuing the cycle of hope and healing. As the stars appeared overhead, Elena looked up through the greenhouse glass and made a wish that every child would learn to see potential instead of problems, beauty instead of brokenness, and hope instead of hopelessness. Her greenhouse had taught the world that with love and patience, any living thing could bloom into magnificence. And so, in a small greenhouse where rejected plants found new life, Elena Rodriguez learned the greatest truth of all, that love sees what others cannot see, patience grows what others cannot grow, and hope believes what others cannot believe. Her story reminds us that every living thing, including ourselves, deserves a second chance to bloom into something beautiful and extraordinary.